A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Sochi Autodrome here in Russia for race 2 of the TropheoPirelli series of the Ferrari Challenge. 30 seconds. 30 minutes even of racing about to get underway. Packed grandstands here to enjoy the Russian Ferrari Racing Days event. There is our calendar. Already we have been to Monza, Mugello, Le Mans. We're here in Sochi with Hockenheim, Jerez in Spain, and the glittering world final in Daytona to come. All the information at races.ferrari.com. It's a fantastic backdrop to this 5.8 kilometer circuit, which features 18 turns, 12 right, 6 left, and the scenery is magnificent. Not quite as warm today as it was yesterday, but nonetheless it is glorious sunshine. There is a little bit of harmless high cloud around, but that's not going to affect this 30-minute race about to get underway. There you can see it is marginally colder than yesterday. Colder, if that's the right word. 29 degrees. It was 30-something yesterday. Track temperature 41 degrees. And there the Hublot safety car ready to lead the cars away on their formation lap for this race 2 in TropheoPirelli, which features both pro drivers and AM drivers as well. And Octane 126, who took P1 and P2 in the race yesterday, done exactly the same in qualifying by taking P1 and P2. Qualifying took place this morning, and it sees the Octane 126 team lock out the front row for this race. P3 is the Russian driver, P3 rather is the Austrian driver, Philipp Baron, and it's Alexei Basov, the Russian driver, that will go from P4. So as part of Ferrari Racing Days, to entertain the spectators, much more than just the Ferrari Challenge Racing, Formula One cars here as well, and Andrea Bertolini treated the thousands of race fans here to a scintillating display of Formula One prowess here on the Sochi Autodrome track. Car sounding absolutely magnificent, and some donuts to boot, of course, as well, as he lights up the rear tyres to the absolute delight of the crowd here. Really appreciated the entertainment spectacle put on by the Racing Days, of which the two series of Ferrari Challenge very much a part. So the TropheoPirelli cars on track then, of which there are pro drivers and AM drivers, and it's an Octane 126 lockout on the front row. Once again, here's a postcard of Sochi. Undoubtedly, here in the Sochi Olympic Park, the Ferrari Racing Days event has been a huge success. There is Fabio Lima then, the 2013 GP2 champion, amongst many other things. He's raced in Formula E and the World Endurance Championship, and of course was Manor Formula One reserve driver as well. Fabio Lima then, who's a guest driver in for Octane 126 this weekend, and has shown just what a good driver he is by putting that car P2 in the race yesterday and P2 in qualifying for today. We look back from the Alexei Basov SMP racing car, which will start on the second row of the grid, going from P4, and we look forward from the Vladimir Atoev car, another one of the SMP racing drivers. He's going from P8 on the grid. So we look back from the Hublot safety car. Now the car's ready to get their race 2 underway. Yesterday, race 1 was entertaining with some drama in it as well. And crowd really enjoyed the race yesterday, and let's remind you of some of the drama and the race action that took place here just yesterday. So as the lights went green, then Sam Smith, the AM driver, tried to make his way forward as they went three abreast at the front, and it was a battle between the two Octane 126 drivers. Initially it was Fabio Lima that had the advantage. 3-1 doesn't go. Marcello Puglisi then on Alessandro Vezzoni, and Sam Smith trying to buy into that battle as well. The little contact causing some damage to the car, which John Farano was able to take advantage of, and these two battled away for many laps. But in the end, Sam Smith it was that got the advantage over the number 59 car. Out front, once Bjorn Grossman had got his nose in front, well, he delivered non-stop perfect laps. Apart from the final turn where he drifted the back end prior to taking the checkered flag, with Fabio Lima P2 and Alexei Basov taking P3. Well, the two Octane 126 drivers have put themselves into a perfect position to perhaps replicate the success of yesterday, with Grossman going from pole position and Fabio Lima going from P2. And we are 2.5 minutes away from the race start. Anticipation begins to build. So TropheoPirelli Race 2, as we look at the James Violent car. He competes in all series in 2016. And by that we mean not only Europe, but Asia Pacific and North America as well. Awful lot of track time for James Violent then. One of the AM drivers, and here's the grid in full for you. Bjorn Grossman and Fabio Lima then go from P1 and P2. With Philippe Baron and Alexei Basov, who are coming together between the two of them yesterday, and Baron ending up with a penalty which denied him that P3 place in the race. So they go from row number 2. All the information, racers.ferrari.com, as we look at the rest of the grid. Row 3 is Marcello Puglisi and Alessandro Vezzoni. Both pro drivers. Then we get into the AM drivers, signified by the AM at the bottom of the graphic. Sam Smith and Vladimir Atuev then going from P7 and P8. Then it's Tommaso Roca, John Farano and James Violent that we looked at just a moment ago, going from P11 on the grid. So top 6 drivers are pro on the grid, and the next 5 drivers are AM drivers. And Sam Smith, the best of the AM drivers. And final checks being made to the Fabio Lima car. Bjorn Grossman leads the points then on 107 over Philippe Baron on 87, 20 points the difference, and Marcello Puglisi. Then David Gosa, who's missing from this round, as is Babalus, and Liam Talbot and Albert Kohler rounding out the top 10. They also missing from this round here in Sochi. So Bjorn Grossman hoping to make good and cement his position at the top of the points. Equally, Philippe Baron, P2 in the points, and P3 on the grid, will be doing his best to wrestle away some points from Bjorn Grossman. But once Bjorn gets his nose in front, really is able to deliver such a fantastic, consistent performance. In the AM drivers, it's 135 points to Sam Smith. Martin Nelson, who's not here, on 58 points. Then John Farano, who indeed is here, is P3 in the points. Those the AM drivers championship then. As the cars are released on their formation lap, it's a rolling lap start for the Ferrari Challenge TropheoPirelli cars. And they turn into turn number 2, which takes them all the way around the Medals Plaza here at the Sochi Autodrome. Alessandro Vezzoni, the car we focus on there. And they head down towards turn 4. All the social media on screen for you. So turn 4 and turn 5, which takes them past the ice arena. Cars weaving from side to side. Generate some additional temperature into the tyres and also into the brakes as well. We're on board with Alexei Basov, driving for the Amato Ferrari Motor Service team. Guest driver this weekend. He was very much a competitor in the Ferrari Challenge, going back just a couple of years or so. Took the championship in 2012, in fairness, Alexei Basov, and become a very, very successful GT racing driver, having won the LMGT AM category at the 2015 Le Mans, has raced in ELMS and Blancpain and GT Open as well. Very, very good driver, Alexei Basov, and super guy to boot as well. So from the safety car, we look back at the cars then on this formation lap for their 30-minute race in the Ferrari Challenge, about to get underway. So the attention mats in the garage is, there's the Octane 126 team, who had so much success yesterday and will be hoping for the same today. And the drivers have done the first step of that by having a supreme qualifying session earlier today. Cars will line up in grid order. The safety car will disappear. It will be the responsibility of the front row of the grid to control the pace of the rolling lap before the cars are released at the lighting gantry as they cross the timing line, and the race will be on. It's a challenge, this circuit. Talking to a number of the drivers this morning, that it takes an awful lot of track laps to get the perfect lap utterly nailed. One that has done that is Bjorn Grossman. So Grossman and Fabio Lima line up side by side, as do Philip Barron and Alexei Basov, then Puglisi and Vezzoni and Sam Smith and Atuev, and then Roca and Ferraro and Weiland, then running right at the back of the grid. P11, there's pit in. Cars have one more turn before it is the lighting gantry, the timing line, and the race about to get underway. Ferrari Challenge, we're live from the Sochi Autodrome in Russia, and the lights go green. Once again, Sam Smith trying to make moves early on in the race. Philip Barron and Alexei Basov will try and do exactly the same. But the two Octane 126 cars are stoic in their defence as Philip Barron gets alongside Fabio Lima and will have the advantage going into this turn. So Fabio Lima is likely to lose a position here. It's Jostley at the back there and Sam Smith involved in that with Tommaso Roca. That's cost him a couple of places. Bit of a drift there from Bjorn Grossman as he pushes his way through the turn. James Wayland then right at the back of the pack. Philip Barron installed into P2 then with Fabio Lima P3 and Alexei Basov in P4. Sam Smith battling hard with Vladimir Atuev then. They're side by side, and Sam Smith, the AM driver, gets past the number 39 car, Vladimir Atuev, who Mika Salo with me yesterday was surprised that he'd been categorised perhaps as an AM driver, although he's a very young, talented driver. And Barron now not happy with second place, is going for the lead, and a very, very rare mistake from Bjorn Grossman has given Philip Barron almost everything he needs. Alexei Basov is another one that's trying to take advantage of this as well. Alexei Basov in the inside, nearly. Barron and Grossman absolutely side by side. Good recovery from Bjorn Grossman. So Barron and Grossman then, and Grossman it is that just puts his nose in front. Fabio Lima is going backwards here and losing out. So at the start of this race, as Alessandro Vezzoni gets up the inside now of Fabio Lima, so he moves up to P4. So Grossman leads from Philippe Barron, from Alexei Basov, from Alessandro Vezzoni. Barron knows that he needs to keep right on the gearbox of Bjorn Grossman, because once he gets away, as now Atoev is really tracking Sam Smith in the all-yellow Shire liveried car, as you can see. That's the battle that's going on for P7 in the race overall, but it's AM honours that are up for grabs as well. And Atoev going to go through here as they make their way through turns 2, 3 and 4 around the Medals Plaza. The SMP Racing driver runs wide. That allows Sam Smith back to be alongside him, but Atoev has got the right line to exit turn number 4. They head towards turn number 5 now, and there's a little bit of a nerf between Alessandro Vezzoni and Fabio Lima as Lima retakes that P4 position. And Alessandro Vezzoni may be losing out here. Indeed he does, to Marcello Puglisi, who goes through and will take up P5 now. And then again more paddle rubbing between the two of them here. No love lost between Marcello Puglisi and Alessandro Vezzoni out there on track. So whilst all this is going on, Bjorn Grossman is doing everything he needs to do in terms of now nailing every single sector. He's the fastest of anyone through Sector 1, because he has no traffic ahead of him, and whilst they all battle behind him, he also sets the fastest Sector 2 time as well, which all means he's increasing the margin over Philippe Barron. Sam Smith running in P8 behind Vladimir Atoev then. He'll want to wrestle away that position if he possibly can. Vladimir, a real young, talented driver, but so too is Sam Smith from the UK. There's Bjorn Grossman then, with a margin of some 1.3 seconds ahead of Philippe Barron, who's running in P2. There's Puglisi and Alessandro Vezzoni battling for P5, and there is Sam Smith then. So a 2:13.849, the fastest lap comes from Bjorn Grossman on lap number 2, and that means he increases his margin over Philippe Barron to just 8 1/1000ths away from 1.7 seconds. Fabio Lima then up the inside. Of Basov there. Warnings being given to car number 9, Marcello Puglisi, and also car number 27, Alessandro Vezzoni, for their conduct out on track. And a huge slide from John Ferrano, which he was able to gather it all up, but that's put him to the back of the pack now. So there is the John Ferrano car number 59. So Sam Smith from the UK then, still behind that car of Vladimir Atoev. And that the battle for first position honours in the AM category, as the graphics indicate. Sam Smith, who's in a really commanding position in the AM honours at the moment in terms of points. A discussion with him earlier about looking forward to the World Finals to come at Daytona. There's still a lot more race action to come before then, as we go to Germany and Hockenheim, of course, the scene of the F1 Grand Prix today, and also to Jerez in Spain. So Atoev and Smith then P1 and P2 in the AM category. Nico was saying yesterday that first GT proper race out for Vladimir. He's part of the SMP Racing Academy and is being nurtured and brought in to develop we hope will be a fantastic racing career for him. Well, Sam Smith just jumps up on our timing screen. He's going to be given a drive-through penalty for a jump start. There it is on your screen now. Car number 92, Sam Smith, then the leader of the AM Championship, gets a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. FF Corsa, the UK-based team, and Sam himself will be utterly furious with that. So this battle for first position is purely academic, truthfully, because Sam Smith has got a drive-through penalty now. I wonder if the team will... He has to serve the penalty within 3 laps of being notified of it. With 22 and a half minutes of racing still to come, it would pay for him to take the drive-through penalty immediately, get back out, and then try and work his way through the pack to garner as many points as he possibly can. So drive-through penalty for Sam Smith for a jump start. As you can see here, he lifted before the timing line, but it was adjudged to have made too much progress on the rolling lap, and therefore gets that drive-through penalty. Ironically, the start went from good to bad for him. And this in replay was that rare mistake from Bjorn Grossman. It was a huge save from him, though. And this in replay is the coming together between Alessandro Vezzoni and Marcello Puglisi, who have been warned about their conduct out there. A little bit of a nerf there from the Fabio Lima car on Alessandro Vezzoni as well. In the meantime, Bjorn Grossman, who has increased his margin at the front by some... It's now 3 seconds, or just under. It's 2.922, as you can see. The gap between Grossman and Barron. Octane 126 really doing a fine job in engineering a very well-performing car. Now, coming under pressure for P2 is Philip Barron, because Fabio Lima is right on him now, and that's going to be a really interesting battle that will rage between Philip Barron, who used to race for the Octane 126 team. He's currently running in P2 with Octane 126 cars between him. Philip Barron driving now for the Rosso Corsa team. Atoev then that leads the AM category. Sam Smith, that's P2 in the AM category, but he still has a drive-through penalty to serve, which will mean that P2 place will go away. So there is the back end of the Sam Smith car, but now, as I said, this battle was going to hot up, and it is hotting up now between Fabio Lima then, who is running in P2, and Philip Barron, who's in P3, and he's making his intentions jolly clear to Fabio ahead of him, making sure that his rear view mirrors are full of the number 91 Rosso Corsa car. Philip Barron, of course, former multi-champion in the Ferrari Challenge, knows how to get the very best out of these 458 Evo cars. Whereas Fabio is new into it for this weekend. So this battle for P2. Fabio's just stepped up the pace a little bit and has put in a 2:14.066 compared to Philip Barron's 2:14.888. So realised that he was coming under pressure from Philip Barron and has just upped the pace to make it ever more difficult for Philip Barron to get on terms. Stoic in P4 is Alexei Basov with Alessandro Vezzoni and Marcello Puglisi right behind. Then it's Vladimir Etoev and Sam Smith, who has that drive-through penalty still hanging over him. I can only assume that the team have decided to keep him out there whilst they appeal the decision, but Alexei Basov now really having to defend hard from Alessandro Vezzoni, who runs out off the track limits. That's playing into the hands a little bit of Marcello Puglisi, who's trying to buy into the battle as well. We look backwards from the Alexei Basov Motor Service car. So it was back in 2012 when Alexei Basov won the Copa Championship in the Ferrari Challenge. And knows the cars well. He runs way offline there. A track limits issue for him, but pleasingly the attack from Alessandro Vezzoni for him has gone away as Marcello Puglisi goes through on the inside of Alessandro Vezzoni, and we saw that live from Alexei Basov's onboard camera. So that's Alessandro Vezzoni running super wide now, and that plays into the hands of Vladimir Atsuev, who has been able to come through, and Sam Smith is still out there. But bear in mind, he still has a drive-through penalty to serve. Vezzoni does get Atsuev back and gets his nose in front now. Smith was trying to buy into that as well. I wonder whether as I say, the team have appealed that drive-through penalty decision rather than get him in to serve the drive-through penalty straight away. So this was Vezzoni losing out to Puglisi. There's been no love lost between the two of them in terms of panel rubbing during the race up to that point. And we can see on board here is the Vezzoni car. So the incident involving cars number 39 and 92 under investigation as Sam Smith does take his drive-through penalty. So it was Vladimir Atsuev and Sam Smith that's under investigation. Sam Smith does take his drive-through penalty for that jump start, and he's now got 15 and a half minutes or so to try and wrestle his way back onto the back of the pack of the cars and try and make his way up the order to try and yield as many points as possible to cement his position right at the top of the AM points chart. Bjorn Grossman is a country mile ahead of Fabio Lima in P2, some 5 seconds. So Fabio Lima then has got ahead of Philippe Baron. And himself is nearly 2 seconds ahead of Philippe Baron, who's in P3. So Grossman, Lima, Baron, Puglisi, Basov, Vezzoni, Atsuev, Roca, Weiland, then it's Ferrano and Sam Smith right at the back of the pack now, having served that drive-through penalty. So in the target sights once again of Vladimir Atsuev is Alessandro Vezzoni, elevated from AM to Pro this year, and in the AM standings it's Atsuev, then it's Tommaso Roca. So Vezzoni a Pro driver, Atsuev an AM driver. Nonetheless, Vladimir wants to get past him for the on-track honours. And there you can see Fabio Lima, who is in P2. So once again, it is an Octane 126, a lockout at the front, and there is Philippe Baron, who's running in P3. Just see the two Octane 126 cars ahead of him, but unable to match their pace, that's for sure. In fact, the last 2 laps, Fabio Lima was the Fabio Lima was the quickest, a 2:14.413. Grossman on a 2:14.763, but 2:15.289 for Philippe Baron. Will feel that he was unjustly denied a podium yesterday, and he was given a time penalty, which put him back to P4, and this is how Fabio Lima got him. So Fabio Lima then clearly quicker than Philip Barron and was able to wrestle away that P2 place. Grossman, though, once again, just delivering lap after lap of perfection. And driving the car really very, very well. 4.5. He's lost a little bit of time, but that's because the last lap time from Fabio Lima was some tenths quicker, as his margin is some 4.5 seconds. But Fabio Lima will act as a wingman for him and won't cause him any problems. Certainly, the margin he has is sufficiently comfortable where he's not going to be troubled. And there is Fabio Lima that runs in P2, and their confirmation on the screen of that margin of 4.595 seconds between the two of them. Bjorn Grossman leads from Fabio Lima then. In the Pro category, in the AM category, it's Vladimir Atoev and Tomaso Roca, P1 and P2, although P7 and P8 in the race overall. Just under 14 minutes of race action to come. Barron crosses the line now, 3.4 seconds down on Fabio Lima, running in P2, but very nearly 10 seconds ahead of Marcello Puglisi, who is running in P4. So Barron shouldn't be troubled at all by anyone from further back. In fact, there you can see Marcello Puglisi just coming into the picture, but look at the margin that he's pulled out over Alexei Basov, who is running in P5, and there is the Alexei Basov SMP racing car for the 2012 Copa Shell champion. Car 27, Alessandro Vezzoni, being warned about track limits, as once again Vladimir Atoev then just reels him in. These two have been fighting tooth and nail throughout the course of the race, but now Vezzoni has been warned with regards to track limits. And he once again goes off the track there. Race stewards are more than well aware of where people are running wide, and if they're using that to advantage, then it's warning, maybe another warning before a penalty. So Alessandro Vezzoni try and keep the car between the white lines if he can. So Vladimir Atoev then we're on board with now, driving the motor service car. Completely different line there, as you can see. He gets ever closer to Alessandro Vezzoni. We stay on board here. Vezzoni brakes now, turns in, so too does Vladimir Atoev. Over the curbs, still reeling in the 458 of the Rosso Corsa Pellin driver, Alessandro Vezzoni, who is running in P6. Tomaso Roca is not far behind either. The cars, incident involving cars 92 and 39, no further action. Sam Smith still not quite on terms of John Ferrano, who's running in P10. He's got 3 seconds to make up. And that was the incident between the two of them. Caught the eyes of the race steward and was under investigation. And some rubbing between the two of them all race long, truthfully. 4.7 seconds, then the gap between Bjorn Grossman and Fabio Lima. So once again, both the Octane 126 cars out on their own. Head down towards turn number 4 now. Which is the left-hander, one of 6 left-handers here. Sorry, it's a right-hander, one of 12 right-handers. Around the Medals Plaza and then past the Ice Arena. And there is Philip Barron, who equally is out on his own in P3. He's 4 seconds down on the P2 driver, but is 10 seconds ahead of Marcello Puglisi, who is running in P4. Puglisi, though, has just done a PB lap at 2:15.302, but the top two are running in the mid-2:14s at the moment. So there you can see it's 9.6 seconds between Barron and Puglisi now as they cross another sector line. with just over 8 minutes left to race. This is TropheoPirelli Race 2 across the weekend as part of the Ferrari Racing Days event here at the Sochi Autodrome in Russia. Deemed to be hugely successful by dint of the thousands of fans here enjoying the race action. Top speed then from Puglisi through the speed trap, 252 kilometers per hour. And there in the standings, Grossman and Lima then absolutely welded together on 250.6. Gap at the front remains the same of 4.5 seconds between Grossman and Lima. We're focusing on the P4 Pro driver Marcello Puglisi at the moment in the all black with green door mirrors livery and some hyper slow-mos here. And the top pro driver drives car number 1 by dint of championship status. And Vladimir Atuev then the leader in the AM category, who has now got past Alessandro Vezzoni. So that's a place change. So Atuev had been hounding Vezzoni and has gone through. So Atuev now P6, Alessandro Vezzoni is P7. Stand by for a fight back, and Tommaso Rocca has tried to buy into that as well. 6.5 minutes to run. You can see Tommaso Rocca flashing his lights at Alessandro Vezzoni ahead just to try and unsettle him and use the light flashing as a distraction to try and provoke a small mistake. Vezzoni is too focused on trying to wrestle away that P6 position from Vladimir Atuev, and both of them now being warned with regards to track limits. So in their furious fight that continues, and bear in mind that Atuev is an AM driver and Alessandro Vezzoni a pro driver, so they're running in different classes within the category. And of course it is the highest up the order finish in the race itself, which is the pride at stake for Alessandro Vezzoni, who wants to try and beat the SMP driver ahead of him. Tommaso Rocca, for all his worth, trying to buy into this battle for P6 as well. Tommaso Rocca, also an AM driver, so 2 AM drivers here being split by the pro driver right in the middle. Running in P7, Alessandro Vezzoni, who's the final of the pro drivers out there on track at the moment. So around the final turn and head across the timing line once again. See there, 2:16.745 for Atuev and a 2:16.607 for Tommaso Rocca. As Vezzoni under braking gets ever closer to the back of Vladimir's car. And now Sam Smith is having served his drive-through penalty on the back of John Farano, so we'll try and make this place up as he has to battle right from the back of the pack now. See how that gap has come down from 3.5, 2.1 to 8 tenths and now just 3 tenths. So Sam Smith clearly much quicker than John Farano. But has got to find a way past as well, and be desperate to do that, to try and bank as many points as possible in the AM category for Sam Smith, who goes into this race leading the AM category points, but the way things stand with just 3.5 minutes left on the clock, is going to miss out on a podium, because I think even as good as Sam is, for him to get on terms with Weiland and to pass him to get the final podium place will be a big ask, particularly as, and why should he, John Farano is not making the pass very easy. He, of course, in his own race, running in P10. Sam Smith desperately trying to find a way past the orange and blue liveried 458 ahead of him. And those two some 6 seconds down on the P9 and P8 cars. So Smith to the outside now will try to dive up the inside here. Very nearly does it, but line is blocked by Ferrano, as is his right to do. Brakes squeal under protest as everything is being put through the front two discs. Back on the power round, final turn now. And let's give you the live gap. It was 3 tenths and, well, it's 5 tenths now, but Sam Smith will, as I say, really want to try and get past John Ferrano, and he's got the remainder of this lap and one more to be able to do so. Didn't have the best of luck in the race yesterday. Damage to the car caused it to not handle quite correctly. That damage brought about with by some contact in the race, and took Sam a couple of laps just to get on terms with how the car was handling and get the best out of it, which eventually he did. And Alessandro Vezzoni gets the best out of his car as he puts himself ahead once again of Vladimir Atoev. These two really have fought throughout the race, and Sam Smith then continuing his quest on John Ferrano. Up to 2 tenths now, seesawing between sort of 2 and 4 tenths. Ferrano putting the car exactly where he needs to block any overtake attempt from Sam Smith, and it's his right to do that. Smith now tries to get right alongside, but he's the wrong line for the right-hander. Ferrano again just placing the car exactly where it needs to go. It's the battle between Rosso Corsa and FF Corsa for P10 honours at the moment that we're watching. P10 in the race overall, but will be P4 in the AM category. Front splitter look just rubbing along the tarmac as the heavy braking compresses the front suspension, pushes the car down into the ground. On his last lap, though, Bjorn Grossman with another, well, fine display of perfect driving around this Sochi Autodrome track. His margin is 4.1 seconds over Fabio Lima, who's in P2, who in turn is 6 seconds ahead of Philip Barron, who is in P3, himself being 11 seconds ahead of Marcello Puglisi in P4. So all gapped. Not gapped. Vladimir Atoev and Alessandro Vezzoni, Pro versus AM. And Vladimir is the best of the AMs, but would like to be ahead of Alessandro Vezzoni and beat a Pro driver to the checkered flag for the race result overall, if he possibly could. And those two have swapped positions a number of times during the course of the race. So there is Bjorn Grossman then for Octane 126. A fine weekend for the Swiss-based team this weekend here in Sochi. Taken P1 and P2 yesterday, as Christian Berchinger informed us. The first P1, P2 lockout that they've had as Octane 126, as Bjorn Grossman just flicks the back end out a little bit. Can afford to lose a couple of tenths and enjoy some sideways action, because it doesn't matter too much. He has enough of a cushion, 3.7 seconds, where he lost a couple of tenths through going a bit sideways. It matters not, because he takes yet another win. So the fourth win in the series so far for Bjorn Grossman. Fabio Lima takes P2, Philip Barron takes P3. a long time before Marcello Puglisi crosses the timing line. So another phenomenal display from the Octane 126 team. And the AM drivers, Vladimir Atuev takes the AM victory from Tommaso Rocca, and it'll be James Wyland that takes P3. Sam Smith denied by John Farano to take the P10 place in the race as they cross the line now, John Farano and Sam Smith. So the 1, 2, 3 in the pros, Grossman, Lima, Barron. The 1, 2, 3 in the AMs, Atuev, Rocca and Wyland. And Vezzoni and Atuev then getting together. That will be looked at, and good save from Vladimir, holds on to it. The crowds enjoyed some spectacular action there. So Grossman, Lima, Barron, Atuev, Rocca, Wyland then. The 1, 2, 3s in each of the categories, whether they be pro or whether they be AM. Across the 6 places, Rosso Corsa took 3, Octane 126 2, and Motor Service taking 1. All the results, of course, there's lots of other information at races.ferrari.com. And this was Sam Smith trying to go the long way around the outside of John Farano, but out wide and just keeping it out of the wall. Good save there from Sam Smith. Well, he'll rue that drive-through penalty, that's for sure. But John Farano taking the P10 place in the race overall. Sam Smith down there, P11. So the cars making their way back into the pit lane. And there's our victorious Octane 126 car driven by Bjorn Grossman, who won the race by some 3.985 seconds of margin over Fabio Lima P2, Philip Barron P3. So pit in there. And on board with Vladimir Atuev, who probably isn't going to be terribly happy with Alessandro Vezzoni ahead of him. So Barron out of the car, and the 2 Octane 126 cars come into the Parc Ferme area. Christian Birchinger, the head of Octane 126, congratulates his German driver Bjorn Grossman for doing another fine job. And Fabio there also having done a great job by taking P2. Tommaso Rocca then will take P2 in the AM standings in this race. And it's Tommaso Rocca's best finish. And there, Philip Barron then taking P2, P3 rather, in the race overall. So we're down there getting the images of the drivers straight out of the cars before they even head up to the podium. And before we head up to the podium, let's take a look at the highlights of race 2 for TropheoPirelli. As the lights went green, both Alexei Basoff and Philip Barron were keen to make their progress early on. Philip Barron up to P2 and pushing hard on Bjorn Grossman, who made a rare error. Good save from Grossman, gave him the inside line, and Alexei Basoff trying to take advantage of that as well. And back down the order went Fabio Lima and got involved in a skirmish here with Alessandro Vezzoni, and down there in P4. Look back from the Alexei Basoff SMP racing car at Marcello Puglisi and Alessandro Vezzoni, who were battling hard behind. Philip Barron in the end was not able to make any progress on Bjorn Grossman, who it was another masterclass around the Sochi Autodrome for him out front, and Fabio Lima would eventually pass Philip Barron to take P2, but for Bjorn Grossman, another fantastic victory to add to his tally of 3 up to that point. It was win number 4. Fabio Lima took P2, Philip Barron taking P3. Big crowds here then to enjoy Ferrari Racing Days live from Sochi. From our vantage point, high up in the grandstands, is where our commentators' position is located. We can see the podium beginning to take place. Bjorn Grossman, Philip Barron, Marcello Puglisi, then the 1, 2, 3 in the points. 129 points for Bjorn Grossman, over 99 for Philip Barron, and Marcello Puglisi a further 8 back on 91. Then Alessandro Vezzoni on 61, all ahead of David Gosner and Babalus on 56 and 37, P5 and P6. Those are the pro drivers' standings. We'll bring the AM driver standings in moments from now. And there, as I reported, you can see the podium being readied. To the very left of your picture, can't quite see now, is the track announcer here, Sergei Bednaruk, who's about to bring the drivers out onto the podium and will oversee the proceedings vocally. Everyone waiting there for the drivers to come out. They're in the podium prep room. And Sergei then begins the process of bringing the drivers out onto the podium and entertaining the big crowd here at the Sochi Autodrome Ferrari Racing Days here in Russia. So Philip Barron then, be jolly pleased to be on the podium. Felt that he should be there yesterday, but for a penalty, he ended up P4 rather than P3. Fabio Lima then to the second step on the podium. And then victorious once again. The German driver Bjorn Grossman, here he comes. And for the second time in TropheoPirelli, about to hear the German national anthem, but first of all, it's Christian Berchinger, the team principal of Octane 126, up on the podium as well, as national anthem is about to play out. So the national anthem plays out there for the German driver Bjorn Grossman on the top step of the podium, and Mika Salo who was alongside me yesterday in comms, makes the trophy presentation. He is the sporting director of the SMP Formula 4 Championship, himself a fine racer and a great character as well. Mikasalo making the trophy presentations then to P3 to P2, and of course to Bjorn Grossman, the race winner. The German driver Bjorn Grossman then receives his trophy from Mikasalo, based in Estonia now. Makes the team's trophy presentation to Christian Berchinger of Octane 126. And Bjorn Grossman also to receive a Pirelli trophy as well, up there on the top step of the podium. That's on its way next. Absolutely beautiful trophies they are. And the Grossman mantelpiece, I should think, bowing under the pressure of the weight of silverware that it has atop it. So they all get together for the photographs. And then it will be time for the champagne to be sprayed up there on the podium as Mr. Berchinger makes haste his exit, and both the drivers go after him, which means that all of a sudden the podium becomes an empty place. So we take super slow-mos of the top three. Philip Barron then. It was that took P3. P2 went the way of the guest driver Fabio Lima in for Octane 126 this weekend, and taking the win then, and a fine display of great driving around the Sochi Autodrome again for this man, bar for that mistake right at the start of the race. Bjorn Grossman, who took the win. So the crowd enjoy the podium and the race action that's been on track, and there's still plenty more to come on the Ferrari Racing Days event here at Sochi. In the AM Drivers' Championship, Sam Smith still in a very, very healthy situation there with 145 points. And John Ferrano, and you will recall in the race, it was John Ferrano that was denying Sam Smith towards the end of the race. He's P2 on 66 points, but Sam Smith really has got such a healthy margin at the top of the AM Drivers' Championship before they head to the next round, which is Hockenheim in Germany. Then it's Jerez in Spain. And then the glittering world finals to come at Daytona in the USA. So from our onboard camera there, we await the AM podium. The SMP Racing Trophy girls up there. And the AM driver is going to be Vladimir Atoev, Thomas O'Rourke, James Wyland. Was pretty happy with that. So James P3, Thomas O'Rourke is chuffed to bits with his P2. And Vladimir Atoev then, part of the SMP racing stable. And very, very tall is Vladimir. He's on the top step of the podium. And, of course, team's representative from Motor Service may be joining us, may not. Time for the national anthem. Vladimir Atoev then, who's going to take many victories in his race career, I'm sure. And is on the top step of the podium here in Sochi, having raced in the Ferrari Challenge. And it's Boris Rodenberg, the president of SMP Racing, that first of all makes the trophy to James Wyland. Then for P3. For P2, it's Tommaso Rocca. Boris himself is no mean racing driver, it has to be said. And makes periodic appearances in the Ferrari Challenge. And one of his own team then takes the win and holds the trophy aloft. Fantastic stuff. So Boris joins in then for the photographs about to take place. So we've had the Pro podium and the Am podium, and everyone all gets in there for the photographs. Look at just how tall he is there up there. So there we have it then. James Wyland P3. It was Tommaso Rocca P2 and Vladimir Atoev that took P1 in the Am category of the Ferrari Challenge TropheoPirelli race. They next perform at Hockenheim in Germany. But stand by, we still have a Copa Shell race to come from the Ferrari Challenge as part of Ferrari Racing Days here. Bye-bye for now.